What's going on, Falcons fans? Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. We are live. Apologies for the delay. Some technical difficulties that we were working through here. But, as always, I am here to deliver your favorite Atlanta Falcons content right here on Falcons Today. Oh, I'm ready for the holidays. I don't know about you guys. What's up, Lav? It's good to see you, brother. I know, Joe. I get it. I'm late, but technology was not our friend today. But we got everything situated. We got everything worked out, and we're here to deliver a great show. First of all, I do want to say this. I cannot believe the Atlanta Falcons have an opportunity, mathematically speaking, to make the playoffs. Why? The standings actually kind of look like they could be in our favor in the near future, which is crazy to say, considering that this team has been an absolute dumpster fire all year. But Tampa Bay right now, Baker Mayfield dealing with an injury. Bryce Young stinks, except against the Falcons. And they play the Rams this week. The Falcons actually play the Jets, and we know that the New Orleans Saints are ass, so we don't even have to worry about them. As of right now, the Atlanta Falcons are only 2 games back of first place. That's not a lot with 6 games left. So it is entirely possible that the Atlanta Falcons make the playoffs. And again, I can't believe I'm actually saying that. So I'm going to ask you really, really quickly, because it's not a stupid question. Considering where the Atlanta Falcons are coaching-wise and the title of today's live stream, we're going to break it down, I promise. Do you want the Atlanta Falcons to make the playoffs? Yes or no? I'm going to give some shout-outs here in just a little bit. I'm going to tell you all about what we've got coming up on today's show. But do you want the Atlanta Falcons to make the playoffs? And on today's show, we're going to discuss Dee Alford potentially taking over that cornerback 2 spot for good. The most recent report that I'm sure you've clicked into, because I don't think there's a coincidence that you got the Bill Belichick rumor yesterday and then the report today from CBS Sports that basically put Raheem Morris on blast. And then, of course, we're going to get into a Falcons mailbag, so use your hashtag Falcons or Super Chat to get in on the show. Now, do me a favor there, producer JD. It's our new producer, JD's first live show, so clap it up for our guy, JD. Do me a favor, put up that weigh-in one more time if you want the Falcons to make the playoffs, yes or no. Here we go. We're going to get some shout-outs here. Lav says yes. Caden says yes. Martavion says hell yeah. Listen, if you say no, it kind of proves to me that you're just more of a Raheem Morris hater than you are a Falcons fan. That's kind of the truth. Like, I don't like Raheem Morris. I don't want him as this head coach. But if you were to ask me what I want more, Raheem Morris fired or the Falcons to make the playoffs, I'd rather the Falcons make the playoffs. Like, it's pretty black and white. You know what I mean? We don't necessarily need to win out, but you need to win 5 out of 6, basically. What up, Matthew? Good to see you, buddy. Diz DeMonsta says we need to get some culture change going with the team and we need to get serious about winning games. I hear you. I hear you. But at the same time, with how weak the division is right now, you can't pick and choose what you want from this team if you have the opportunity to make the playoffs. That's the goal every single year. Every single year, every team fights to make the playoffs. Now, you could argue that, you know, there are teams that are less realistic about it, like the Tennessee Titans, the Cleveland Browns. Of course, they're not going to make the playoffs. But the Falcons have way too much talent on the roster to not try to make the playoffs. That's the difference between the Falcons being a bad team and another team like the Titans or the Jets. The Falcons have good players. Those other teams have like one good player. That's it. So I understand both sides, but I definitely want the Falcons to make the playoffs. The man, that's a great question. Why now just on the hot seat? Well, believe it or not, there is a reporter out there named Jack Jones from CBS Sports. I trust this guy's inside information around locker rooms. He's been right all the time. And he came out with a report today that basically said, yeah, the front office in Atlanta, they're not happy with Raheem at all. And like I told you, I don't think that there's a coincidence between what came out yesterday about Bill Belichick and this new report around Raheem. I truly think Arthur Blank is trying to send a message. As fucked up as he is and as bad of an owner as he can be, I think he's trying to send a message. These next 6 games for Raheem Morris are going to dictate if he's going to be the head coach next year, period. It's crazy stuff. It gives me headaches. It makes me sweat. But at the same time, if you told me 3 weeks ago that the Atlanta Falcons would still have a chance to make the playoffs come week 15, 16, 17, I would have been like, I'll take it in a heartbeat. I'll take it in a heartbeat. All right, Mr. JD. By the way, like I said, it's our producer JD's first, it's his first live show ever here at Chat Sports. And he's going to do an excellent job. So a little bit of patience today because we're going to work through some kinks with him. But it is his very first live show. It's awesome to have. It's a rite of passage here at Chat Sports. I remember my very first live show. It was not good. So trust me when I say this. There is room to make mistakes. We'll address them as they come. The Falcons fans are definitely going to be very supportive of you, Mr. JD. So do me a favor, Falcons fans. Rise up and give some JDs going in the chat. Get JD going in the chat. I want to see as many as possible before we start today's live show. Jeff Fafa says, where is Reed today? Reed is helping out some younger Chat Sports hosts today. Yes, everybody's getting the JDs going. Let's go. See, they're here to support you, my friend. They're here to support you. Thank you guys for being patient, by the way. Whenever we're working with newer producers and newer hosts, we do allow a little bit more time. That's partially the reason why we started a little bit later today, and also Moose's computer wasn't working. So it's just one of those things. We deal with it. Technology, we're at the mercy of it. We move on. All right, here we go. One more thing before we start. One more thing. We got to get at least 50 likes before we start. We're only at 34. We got 141 people rocking in the building with us right now. If you hit that thumbs up icon, we get to 50 likes, we'll start today's first segment, which is all about Mr. JD, Dee Alford, everybody's favorite corner, potentially taking over that outside corner spot as the Falcons starter the rest of this season and maybe even into next year. But if the Falcons don't want to go with Dee Alford, I've highlighted 4 cornerback replacements that could take over Mike Hughes' position because I think Mike Hughes, as fine as he's been the last couple of weeks, I think they're ready to move off of him. We got 58. Here we go. All right. JD, let's do this, brother. We're going to talk a little bit about Dee Alford. We're going to see if he's going to be the cornerback future of this team. And if not, 4 potential replacements that could take over that Mike Hughes spot on the outside corner, too. Feel free to push that over whenever you want, brother. Falcons fans, today's episode is all about Dee Alford. Believe it or not, in our last episode, I saw a bunch of people get down in the comment section. They're like, why doesn't Moose talk enough about Dee Alford? Well, ask and you shall receive. I think Dee Alford, as I can admit as well, probably was a little too harsh on the kid a little bit earlier on throughout the season. And I think rightly so at some points. There were a ton of games where he just got absolutely cooked, like burnt toast. From the preseason throughout the earlier parts of the season, it didn't look great. But recently, Dee Alford has been unbelievable. So now the Falcons have a tough decision to make. They really do. Why? Because Dee Alford is playing at a level right now that could warrant him being the starting outside corner over a guy like Mike Hughes. And let's be completely honest. Hughes is old. It's not that he's been playing terribly, but he's not the long-term future for this franchise. So the question now surrounding Dee Alford is this. Is he worthy of the starting quarterback 2 spot in 2026? Because for the rest of 2025, I think you're going to see kind of a rotation of what he's been in the nickel now with Billy Bowman Jr. out. But could he slide his way outside for the remainder of his career with the Atlanta Falcons? So here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to highlight the last 5 starts that Dee Alford has, because in the last 5 starts, that's really where he's been able to showcase his ability. 23 tackles, 5 PBUs, 1 INT, a coverage grade of 51. Okay, that's not great, but a pass rush grade of 81.0. Interesting. What's one thing that I've been very complimentary of with Dee Alford over the last couple of games? His ability to close out on tackles. He's been exceptional in that area. Coverage-wise, it's not been great. He's not the stickiest defender, although it's gotten stickier since the beginning of the season. He still is allowing, by the way, in 2025, a 100.7 passer rating. You're probably looking at that going, Moose, that sucks. So why on earth are we talking about Dee Alford being the outside corner? Well, as crazy as it sounds, he's actually a shit ton better than he was last year. Let's just take a look side by side. So the last 2 seasons, we're only going by starts, not total games played, just by starts. In 11 starts in 2024, Dee Alford was able to garner a 117.9 quarterback rating to this year's 5 starts at 100.7. That's better. Touchdowns allowed in 11 games started in 2024, he had 8. Now he's only got 2. His missed tackle percentage has gotten better this season at 9.3. And he's only given up 269 air yards to the 428 air yards that he gave up in 2024. So there is improvement. Is Dee Alford ever going to be a lockdown cornerback 2? No. But has he shown enough to get that outside cornerback start next year? It remains to be seen. I do acknowledge that he's getting better. I don't think anyone would argue that. But is it good enough? That's what we have to ask ourselves, because now we've seen the onslaught of this Falcons secondary. We've seen the improvements in the pass rush. Gone are the days where the Atlanta Falcons are no longer a good defensive team. Now there's real expectations from every single player. Jeff Ulbrich had nothing but praise for Dee Alford. But praise can only take you so far. You got to nut up or shut up with the numbers. And so far, if we take a look at the starting corners, A.J. Terrell, Billy Bowman, Dee Alford. Dee Alford is right there with everybody. A.J. Terrell's missed a little bit of time this year. Billy Bowman's now missing more time. He's got a torn Achilles. Dee Alford seems to be the consistent one right now. So his case for making that outside corner start is actually only growing stock. And the rest of the Falcons cornerback depth chart, few and far between. I don't want to see Natrone Brooks on this field ever again. He was brutal. Butt cheeks, if you will. But the depth chart right now, I think, outside of Mike Hughes, who maybe we could replace Dee Alford with, is really good. But now with Billy Bowman's injury, you got to slide Dee out to that nickel. Mike is going to remain at the CB2. So we're not talking about this year. We're just talking about next year. So here's my question to you, Falcons fans. And if you're watching during our live chats, our live show, get down in the live chat and answer this question right now. Should Dee Alford be getting the starting CB2 spot going forward? Type S for start or type R for rotate, as in just kind of flip him around a little bit. Have him just kind of rotate in and out of the lineup. Now, like I said, it's not just all about Dee Alford. If the answer is no, if you can't give Dee that spot, you got to figure out a supplantement plan or a replacement plan. My apologies. So coming up, I've got some cornerback targets for 2026. 4 guys that you need to know. 2 that are currently in the NFL and 2 that are coming out of this year's draft. Before I get to that, got to tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks. You know what? The season has officially changed. Fall is absolutely here. And I got to be honest with you, the feeling of being right, it never gets old. But guess what? all the other sports actions going around alongside you. Basketball matchups, playoff pushes, it's all happening all at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every single day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's only one place where it feels good to be right. That's our friends over at Prize Picks. It's very simple. It takes 30 seconds to make a lineup. That's all it takes. You pick your player, your more or your less. You watch your money multiply. Up to 2,000 times your cash this football season over on Prize Picks. They've also got this brand new feature alert that you can absolutely utilize. Basically, all you got to do is like pick your lineup and you could cash out for early payouts. It really is that simple. So do yourself a favor. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. So I previously mentioned that I've got some cornerback targets for you. 2 NFL free agents Atlanta could sign, 2 potential 2026 draft picks for next season. I'll start with the guys that are currently in the NFL and work our way down. First guy coming into free agency in 2026, Eric Stokes of the Las Vegas Raiders. Believe it or not, he's like one of the only bright spots of the Las Vegas Raiders defense. They are booty fire. I combined dumpster fire and booty cheeks. It's booty fire. But Eric Stokes is not that. He's actually been really, really good this year. And believe it or not, he went to Georgia. So Falcons fans, at least if you're a Georgia fan, Bulldogs, go Dogs, you'll know this guy. Stokes has been sensational this football season. There's one key statistic going around that through the first 12 weeks of the NFL season, he's actually one of the best corners in yards allowed per coverage snap. He's third currently in the NFL in that statistic. Jack Jones is number 1. Joey Porter Jr. for the Steelers is number 2. But take a look at Eric Stokes right there. Oh, by the way, who's number 4? A.J. Terrell. He's right above A.J. Terrell in yards allowed per coverage snap. So what does that mean? He's excellent in zone coverage, which Atlanta has definitely tried to go into a more zone coverage style defense rather than going full man-to-man. Specifically, though, where his numbers align, very good as well. 28 tackles, 4 PBUs. No picks, but look at his coverage grade. So what does it tell you when you've got a really high coverage grade and a really low amount of interceptions? They're not throwing to your side of the ball. He's also really strong off the line of scrimmage. He's great in phase. He mirrors routes so beautifully. I love what I've watched from him so far this football season. Is he one of the greatest corners in the league? Probably not, but he's definitely having a great 2025 season. So you could see him as a cheaper option for the Atlanta Falcons if they wanted to throw at least some money at a corner. Let's go to the next guy. Okay, hold up. I know. Moose, we can't poach in division. Well, not so fast, my friend. If we were going to talk about a guy that was playing probably some of the best football out of any player at his position, you have to mention Jamel Dean. I don't know where this kid came from, but good frickin' God. He is great. Like, this is probably the number 1 corner so far this football season in the NFL. And yes, that also goes for the guys like Pat Surtain. He is playing like the best cornerback in the NFL, and it's not close. He's actually one of the main reasons that the Buccaneers defense looks competent at times. And I hate giving credit to a division rival, but this guy is a stud. Just take a look at his numbers. They're unbelievable. 28 tackles, 6 PBUs, 3 INTs, and his coverage grade, 83.2. Okay. You've kind of sold me a little bit, Moose. He's playing great. What's it going to cost to get him? A lot. He's going to be a guy that's like $25 million a year. There's no doubt about it. But he's worth it. That is a lockdown CB1. I'll go as far as to say this. If you sign Jamel Dean, A.J. Terrell becomes your number 2. There's no doubt about it. Dean is one of the most talented corners in the league. He does everything well. He plays in phase. He's aggressive. He's a ball hawk. He's got the production. You name the things that you want him to do, he'll do it. He actually even plays up at the line of scrimmage and plays pressure. He's a pressure corner as well. He could do everything. He's the ultimate corner, but he is going to cost you a lot of money. Well, Moose, we don't want to go after anybody in free agency that's going to cost too much. Let's focus on the draft. Fine, you got it. Let's start with our first draft guy, Malik Muhammad from the University of Texas. Horns up, baby. Just kidding. Horns down, always. Malik Muhammad, I'm actually going to carry over this guy. I'm going to pair him with another dude that I think the Falcons could target, Dalen Everett. If you're a Bulldogs fan, you know this guy as well. So let's combo the two of them together here very briefly. Malik Muhammad and Dalen Everett have both played 10 games. Now, just take a look briefly at the numbers. So far, you would look at Malik Muhammad's numbers and you would say, well, he's got better numbers. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. Dalen Everett doesn't have the interceptions or the sacks or the TFLs because, personally, I don't think he gets targeted as much as Malik Muhammad does. I've watched both of these kids play, and from what I've seen, I'd take either of them. So let's start with Dalen. What do we know about Dalen? Straight line down the field speed in man coverage. The dude, when you get him in a foot race, good luck. He's going to stick with you step for step. That true north to south beeline speed up the sideline, unmatched. He's also got natural coverage skills in zone, and he can break on the ball really effectively. Great. All that sounds good. Where's the weakness? Hip flexibility. He needs to work a little bit on his change of direction. So if you were to make a double move on him and he doesn't get in that quickness of his turning of his hips, you can beat him. So that's probably why he's not going to be a lockdown CB1 or even a round 1 pick. This is definitely a round 2 or round 3 pick. Now let's flip over to Malik Muhammad. Fluid hips, so unlike Everett, he's actually got that functionality, that mobility in the hips that you like to see, and he's very quick twitch. He's got advanced communication skills, so he's got a big brain, understands how to play the position at a high level. But not nearly as physical, not nearly as aggressive, and not nearly the size with the tackling skill that Everett has. And that's kind of led to his lack of productivity for how smart that he is. So all the scouts are telling you, for a guy that's so smart, for a guy that's so quick twitch, why don't his numbers look better than they do? Well, he's not really that great of a tackler, and his skills don't translate to interceptions. That's kind of what they're telling you. But one's really smart, one's really athletic. If you had to take one of them, who would you take? I'm not entirely sure I know right now. I'd probably take Everett, simply because he's got the longer, more athletic style, the athletic build, that leaner, kind of bigger corner that you're looking for. But Malik Muhammad would be one of those plug-and-play guys that you could start day one, and he'd probably understand his own concept like Atlanta runs very well. That's going to do it for us in today's episode. A reminder to hit that subscribe button. Like today's video. Rise up, Falcons fans. And as always, be cool. Look at that. Nice and easy. Super chill. Boom. We do that 2 more times and we're out of here. You could just put up that weigh-in 2 again that we just did with Muhammad and Everett. Why not to Everett? If you're a UG, I'm talking to you, Pat Norris. Why not on Everett? Why are you out on Everett? Oh, he just said he's very sometimey. Well, that's also probably a good reason why he's not going to go in the first round. But do you want to teach? You can't teach speed. You're absolutely correct. But the way I look at it is, can we develop him? If Jeff Ulbrich is still your DC, can he develop Everett into that corner that we want? Because you can't teach athleticism. You can teach skill. You can teach positioning. You can teach communication. You can't teach, a 4.5 or a 4.4 speed and 6 foot with, that awesome wingspan. Pat says he ain't ready, man. Well, developmental corner sounds like it. I just watch his speed, man, and I'm like, dude, that guy's got ridiculous north to south speed. All right. Go get Stetson Bennett. Well, Stetson's not a corner, so he's a quarter. What up, Bright Wolf? Good to see you, buddy. Whew. All right, you ready to... Are you ready for our next? This is the one that I'm sure everybody's wanting to see. We're going to talk about this new report that came out that put Raheem on the hot seat. Avion Terrell. Is that how you say it, Avion? To have both Terrell brothers on the same team would absolutely hit like crack. But I think he's a first-round pick. That's what I'm... Apologies. You don't think he's good in zone? Yeah. Look, I get it. I understand where you're coming from. So, again, we don't have our pick of the elite corners this year because we don't have a first-round pick. Our first-round pick went into James Pierce Jr. So, what are you doing? Okay, you're very weird. You're very weird. All right, you ready? Let's do our second segment here. What? Goodbye.
Go Patriots.
Get out of here. Yeah, exactly. Jeff Fafa, I'm right there with you. He's going first round. He's going to be long gone. There's no way you get him. Okay, here we go. What everybody tuned in to see. Today's show, a new report puts Raheem Morris on the hot seat officially. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. There's a connection between the Bill Belichick story that came out yesterday and this one that came out today. I'm going to put them together in this one. Here we go. Falcons fans, it's the episode that you've officially been waiting for. No, not Raheem has gotten fired, but maybe the next best thing. It is official. A new report from CBS Sports has put Raheem Morris on the hot seat based off of insider information that one CBS reporter got from inside the Falcons locker room and the front office. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence whatsoever that yesterday we put out a video talking a little bit about Bill Belichick and the Josina Anderson report that there are teams that are still interested in Bill Belichick, and the one that came out today from Jack Jones, who basically said, yeah, Raheem is his seat's definitely warm and he's feeling the pressure right now. So what was this specific report? Because we got to have receipts. Well, let's start with our first one. Here's what Jack Jones wrote in his CBS report. It has made many wonder around the league whether sweeping changes will take place following this year. Here's what I know. Those in the building, talking about in Atlanta, feel their seats warming, and there's no guarantees of anything with 6 games remaining. Second-year head coach Raheem Morris is over a group of individuals that have lost 5 straight. This was obviously right before the Jets game, and I don't know where he's getting that information because it came out today. So he must have written this earlier and then put it out today, including consecutive overtime losses when the NFC South looks like it could be won with somewhere around 10 wins. You won't find someone who doesn't want to coach the roster, one league source told me. That's the most important quote right there. You won't find a coach that doesn't want to coach this roster. We've been saying it all year, Falcons fans. All year. It is not a talent issue in Atlanta. It is a coaching issue in Atlanta. So now it feels like the rest of the NFL is kind of warming up to that idea. Oh, we were on that way quicker than anybody else. The article goes on to say this. Arthur Blank is one of the most patient owners in the NFL. This group, showing some fight and turning things around in the closing month and a half of the season, would go a long way into keeping Raheem Morris. There's the shot in the back right there. So what do we know from this entire article that was written by Jack Jones? Raheem's seat is officially hot. That's one thing that we know. We also know that Terry Fontenot and Arthur Blank are watching Raheem like a hawk, or like a falcon, I guess you could say. And other coaches, they want the job. They want the job. You just heard it from Jones. League sources are saying there are plenty of coaches that want to jump at the opportunity to coach this football team. And why wouldn't they? The team is absolutely 100% filled with stars. I'll name a couple of them. Actually, I'll pretty much name all of them. Drake, Bijan, Tyler, Jalen, James Pierce, Divine Diablo, Caden Ellis, A.J. Terrell. Notice a lot of our stars coming on the defensive side of the ball. Speaking of, Billy Bowman, Xavier Watts, Jesse Bates. I could go on and on and on about all of these spectacular players. And make sure, JD, you have a little lower third there on there as well. I could go on and on about all of these different players. But the fact is that we know already that the Atlanta Falcons have star potential. They've got playoff potential. They've got players that are good enough to take this team to the very top of the division. It's been a failure and an indictment on Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson and this coaching staff to develop the talent to win football games. But as the article and I have said, the next 6 games are incredibly critical. If you see the Atlanta Falcons string together a group of wins, there is a chance, a legitimate one, that Raheem Morris stays on this football team, especially if they make the playoffs. And I've got news for you. 3 out of the next 6 games are to teams with below 500 records. The Jets, the Cardinals, the Saints. We play all of them. All 3 of those could be wins. The other teams, the Seahawks, the Rams, the Buccaneers. So if you pull out a win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and you squeak one of those games between the Seahawks and the Rams, there might be a legitimate chance the Atlanta Falcons are in the postseason. And as a Falcons fan, I want nothing more to see my team make the playoffs, but I'm also conflicted because I don't want Raheem Morris. So it's kind of like which one is worse? Which one is better? I don't know. All I know is that I'm going to root for this team regardless. So if they suck and they fire Raheem Morris, great. We can focus on the future. If they somehow rattle off enough wins to make the playoffs, then it's full steam ahead in the playoffs. But I'm going to ask you really quick. The likelihood that the Falcons make the playoffs is what? 1% meaning there's absolutely no shot in hell. 100% means they're absolutely going to make it. And put that percentage down in the live chat if you feel so inclined. And if you're watching during our regularly scheduled programming, make sure you get down in the comment section down below. Before I continue on with what I believe the Atlanta Falcons can do to make the playoffs, and most of it stemming from Kirk Cousins, I'm going to tell you about a brand new sponsor that we've got here on the show, and that's our friends over at Cash App. The holidays are here. You got to keep your eyes peeled for scammers everywhere. I just got a call yesterday about my car's extended warranty from my hometown, which I haven't lived in like 8 years. It's absolutely hysterical. But the holidays are all about finding that perfect gift. But this time of the year, not every deal is actually what it seems. Scammers are getting more creative to try to trick people into sharing their payment info through methods like fake shopping sites and giveaways that are just too good to be true. Luckily, Cash App's 24/7 fraud monitoring helps detect and alert you for unusual card activity should someone gain access to your card. So you can act fast if something seems off. You can also lock or unlock your Cash App card instantly right in the app for extra control and peace of mind. Stay one step ahead of scams this season and keep your money secure with Cash App. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, just download the Cash App, use our exclusive referral code, secure10 in your profile, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Incorporated brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. So it's all about Kirk Cousins at this point. We can go back and forth about who the most pressure is on. It comes down to Kirk. Quarterback play. Can your quarterback deliver the goods? And I thought Kirk didn't play a great game against the New Orleans Saints, but he didn't make really any huge mistakes. We can go back and forth again about the pick six. Part of that was on Kyle Pitts. Part of it was on Kirk double pumping. Either way, if Kirk eliminates the mistakes, this team has a legitimate chance to win football games. So, the real question now becomes, was it a one-off performance from Kirk, or is that something that we can expect from Kirk moving forward? I don't know the answer to that. I still am not a full-term Kirk believer, if that makes sense. I don't know that I want him on this team next year. He's going to cost way too much. But if he starts winning football games, that's the ultimate indicator of keeping your job. Perform, win, move on. Always. And Raheem Morris was asked specifically about why the offense looks so different with Kirk Cousins at the helm versus Michael Penix Jr. And very interestingly put, he said this. Obviously, Kirk comes into the locker room and he's able to have a lot of injury input. So when he comes in and we say exactly what he likes, especially after we get some practice reps and do those things, he goes out there and he looks at it. Don't go to the next one yet, JD. I'll just read that. I love the concept. I love this. I love that. I love the scheme. Love being here. Love this protection for those reasons. So it sounds like what we're being told here is that Kirk Cousins, being the savvy veteran that he is, has a lot more say in what the offensive scheme looks like than what Michael Penix was doing. So either one of two things can be true here. Either one, Penix needed to get into the ear of Zach Robinson more, but wasn't going to do it because he's a younger player. Or two, Zach Robinson's too damn stubborn to listen to Michael Penix Jr., and yet somehow listens to Kirk Cousins. Either way, clear miscommunication between your quarterback and your offensive coordinator. So we know Kirk is also more comfortable with playing under center, but it's the clear extra protection that Zach Robinson was able to garner up for him in place of Michael Penix Jr. This is what didn't make sense to me at all. You've got a quarterback that you selected 8th overall, right? Why weren't you running this multiple tight end set that you ran all game against the Saints? 13 personnel. Simply put, means 1 running back, 3 tight ends. So why on earth did you run it 33 times out of 55 offensive plays, 60%, which, by the way, was the highest rate of any offense in the NFL since 2016? Why were you doing that with Kirk and not with Penix? Oh, well, Moose, it was because Drake London was out. Bullshit. I don't want to hear that. You have 4 tight ends. 4. You can use any sort of combination of those guys. Tegan Quatoriano, Felipe Franks, Charlie Warner, Kyle Pitts. Move Kyle Pitts out wide. Put him in the slot. Have the other 3 guys line up on the line of scrimmage. It just doesn't make any sense. It's nonstop incompetency between your offensive coordinator and the communication with your quarterback. So, what are the keys to Kirk's success? If Kirk's going to succeed, how is it going to be done? Well, the first step is he's going to keep playing under center. If the Falcons have any shot to win football games, you got to look like a real NFL offense. Playing under center, you were dead last going into that game against the Saints, and you somehow pulled it off and made it look more impressive this week. Step 2, keep the wide zone runs with those stunts. Move your tight ends. Shift them to the left. Shift them to the right. Get Bijan out in space. He's fast. He's quick. He's patient. He's got great field vision. Allow Bijan to create plays when he's in open space. You do that with outside runs. Step 3, utilize your 4 tight ends. There's a reason you kept 4. I thought it was stupid to keep 4, but you kept 4 anyway. So if you're going to use all 4 or you're going to keep 4, use them, not just in special teams. And finally, something I thought Zach Robinson actually did correctly last game was he limited the pistol. If you keep it to 10 plays or under, I'll never have a problem with it. The problem I do have, Zach Robinson, is running the Michael Penix Jr. offense in the pistol 36 times a game. That doesn't do it. If you did it 8 times, I'd be okay with it. It's a concept that you run. You can have success with the pistol if your offensive line dominates the line of scrimmage. So limit the pistol to 10 plays, get Kirk under center, have more wide zone scheme runs with those stunts, and utilize your tight ends. And hell, you might just be able to pull off some W's. Speaking of W's, before I end today's show, what will the Falcons' record be at the end of this season? Realistically speaking, I want your honest answer for this. I think it could be 7 wins. I think they could win 3 out of the next 6. 7-10 probably feels right. Would I want that necessarily? No, of course not, because you always want to go positive. But realistically speaking, I don't know how we stack up right now against the Seahawks and the Rams. It's just going to be too much. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to hit that subscribe button, like today's video. Rise up, Falcons fans, and be cool. Good stuff. You just forgot the background photo in there. Yeah, Sam did. Sorry, Sammy boy. Link must not have worked. My feet are hurting again. No, don't worry about it. It's okay. As long as I was able to read it, it's fine. But you did the right thing. You pivoted and you went full screen. So that was the good thing. That was the smart thing to do. That's okay. It's your first time. All right. So can we get over 100 likes real quick? We got 200 people watching right now. Do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up icon. I honestly am I'm so pissed off because did it not look like a real offense on Sunday against the Saints? Did it not look like something that we could sustainably run over and over again as a real NFL offense? Why on earth did it take so long to do that? Shout out to you, Archangel. All right, we're going to get our Falcons mailbag in here. Get your hashtag Falcons questions in. We need our questions. How many questions do we have, by the way? You can take a look. If you click into the bucket, you can go look at how many questions we have. Oh, yeah, we'll be live on Sunday, right? Well, of course we will. Three questions total. That's not nearly good enough. Let's get our questions in, guys. Come on now. JD needs more. Do it for JD. It's his first live show. Oh, yeah, that's not nearly good enough. Hashtag Falcons right now. I'm going to start calling out some names if we don't get them in here. Shout out to you, Robbie Chan. Shout out to you, Jeremy. Shout out to you, Bright Wolf. Well, I'm glad we're getting some because I was going to have to start calling some people out, and my mother told me never to put another person's name in your mouth unless you're ready to throw hands. So she didn't say that. Hey! Shout out to you, DSG. God, I'm still getting over this little sickness, guys. It's ugly. What's good? Pat Norris, I don't think we can answer that question. Maybe we can at the very end. Get a couple more in here. It's under YouTube social. Do you see it at the bottom? Like underneath the YouTube comments? Yeah. And that don't go to that first. You go to that like after 2 or 3 questions. Does that make sense? Yeah. Couple more questions, guys, before we get started with our mailbag. Well, not yet. We have to get our get a couple more questions in here. Ark, nice. Hawkins family, nice. Appreciate it. There we go. Father. Yep. Father. Hello, Father. Father Food. Father Foodie YouTube. Dozer, that's a great question. Love to answer it if you use hashtag Falcons. All right, now it looks like we're getting a ton. We're good. Ooh, Brandon Ayuk, brother. Hey, brother. By the way, very good stuff today so far. It's been excellent. The flow of the button pressing has been great. So good job. I thought you followed it very well. Listen, I will catch up to if you're behind a little bit. I can always keep talking. You know what I mean? It's better than pushing too quickly, because if you push too quickly, then I have to like catch up, and then it doesn't make sense from a flow perspective. Does that make sense? No. Mm-mm. No, you're good. All righty. Let's do this. Let's get into our very first mailbag. And remember, pick certain ones that you want. Don't go with the same type of question twice. So if somebody asks a question about our playoff chances, don't make the next one about playoff chances. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Jeffrey Berg saying, do you still work at Froggy 99.9 in Fargo? No, clearly not. That is a deep pull. How the hell did you know that? That's got to be somebody who knows me. It has to be. That's crazy. That's insider info right there. That's insider baseball. All right, good stuff. Yeah, I used to be a radio guy. Fun fact. Here we go. Do me a favor and put that my name tag and my name badge on here. Oh my God, he lives in North Dakota. All right, push that through. Boom. Good stuff. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Falcons fans, welcome into our mailbag edition that airs on our live show every single Wednesday at about 3:30 to 4 o'clock Central Time. It varies, you know what I mean? You know what doesn't vary? The Atlanta Falcons playing a bad football team. It seems to happen a lot now. But here's what we do know. The Falcons have an opportunity to win this football game in New York. You are taking on the New York Football Jets. So, the Atlanta Falcons meet the Jets. Two football teams right now that probably don't have a lot going for them. But nonetheless, the Falcons could take the W and improve to 5-7 on the 2025 season. We're going to get started with our very first question of today, and that's from Archangel, fan favorite of the show. Can Kirk Cousins get us to the playoffs? Thoughts? Obviously, yes. Kirk can. He's an NFL veteran, understands defenses, can play well enough. The thing about Kirk, Ark, is if Kirk limits the mistakes, the Falcons can win a lot of football games. I just don't know that given his age, given his injury history, and given his pocket mobility limitations, I don't know how many times he can limit the mistakes. Because eventually, you're going to go up against some really good quarterbacks. Sam Darnold is playing well. Matt Stafford looks like the MVP. You're going to have to go up against Baker later on in the season. So you've got to go toe-to-toe with some of those great quarterbacks, and I don't think Kirk has the firepower anymore. Now, can he beat Tyrod Taylor? Yes. Can he beat Jacoby Brissett? Yes. Can he beat Tyler Shuck? Yes. We know this. So I'm looking at this saying Kirk might go 3-3 over the next 6, and that would put us at 7-10. Hopefully that answers your question. Jeremy coming in with his question. What's your opinion on bringing in Robert Saleh as a Raheem Morris replacement? I don't hate Robert Saleh as a head coach. Unfortunately, he coached the Jets, and the Jets are a dumpster fire. I wouldn't say Robert Saleh would be my top choice for head coach, but I wouldn't hate it. He's a leader of men. He knows defensive personnel. He loves to blitz. He loves those schemes. I think Robert Saleh was liked in that locker room. I just think ultimately you had Aaron Rodgers, who's a cancer at quarterback. You had an incompetent owner. Geez, where does that sound familiar? And a GM that was an absolute moron. Well, there might be some similarities there. Either way, Robert Saleh, I would not hate as the Falcons head coach. I just don't know that it's the perfect number one overall choice. Hell of a Falcons fan coming in next. Will there be a quarterback competition? Ooh. Will there be a quarterback competition next year? Interesting. I mean, let's just go with what we know. There's only two quarterbacks that could be possibly in a competition right this moment. Michael Penix Jr., Kirk Cousins. But I don't know that Kirk's going to be on this team next year. He's a $35 million cap savings if you release him. So that would leave only Michael Penix Jr. as the quarterback on this depth chart. And like I said, I don't think Kirk's going to be on the team in 2026. Not unless he absolutely goes out and balls out. I mean, if Kirk gets us close to the playoffs, if he wins, let's call it, he's already had two start, or that was his second start. So he's 1-1 this season. If Kirk goes as a starter 6-2 this football season, I think it would be very hard to say that he doesn't have a spot on this team next year. Now, if he goes 3-3 or 4-4 or whatever it is, then I think, okay, Kirk's out the door. And then you had what Raheem Morris said like last week and said, we've got to flip our mentality about the quarterback position. And if we're just looking at the Falcons' schedule, the remaining schedule, we don't need to see the first 7 weeks there, Mr. Producer. We can just take a look at the remaining schedule here in just a little bit. You've got some really tough opponents coming up. You've got the Seattle Seahawks. You've got the Los Angeles Rams. You've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers again. But then you've also got some cupcakes. You've got the Jets. You've got don't worry about it, it's okay. You've got the Jets. You've got the Cardinals. You've got the Saints. So there could be a quarterback competition if Kirk Cousins wins these football games. If he doesn't win these football games, I think we know that the writing's on the wall. But does that beg the question then, what do the Falcons do about Michael Penix Jr.? Of course it does. It's impossible to know any of these answers until the offseason. I think that's the ultimate take right here. And that's okay. It's okay to admit. It is impossible to know what the Falcons are planning on doing until we know what they're doing, if that makes sense. So if I had to pick my starting quarterback right now of who I think is going to be the starter, it's going to be Penix. It'll be Penix. But if you think it'll be Kirk Cousins, or maybe it's somebody different, do me a favor, get down in the comment section. If you think it's going to be Kirk, type your K's. If you think it's going to be Penix, type your P's. I'm typing my P right now, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. It might be somebody else. It might be another quarterback. Before we continue on with more questions from real Falcons fans, I got to tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks. The holiday season is officially here, and this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether it's the basketball matchups, the playoff pushes, it's all happening all at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every single day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, what games to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right, and that's Prize Picks. They got a brand new feature. Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. If your fantasy season's already over, look, my team's cooked. But with Prize Picks, I don't have to wait until next year's draft. Every single day I can play fantasy football, pick my favorite players, and win when they hit their projections every single week. So do yourself a favor. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. I'm going to put all of that in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. We're going to come in with another Falcons fan right here, the dog sit, another huge fan of the show. Shout out to you, brother. Falcons, do you think the Falcons re-sign Kyle Pitts? I think not. I've been team franchise tag Kyle Pitts. He played arguably one of his worst games of the season against the Saints, man. I cannot keep defending Kyle Pitts. He's the most bipolar player I've ever seen. There's games when Kyle Pitts is like rocking and rolling, and there's games he just disappears, just into the ether. If I had to put my money on it, if I think they re-sign him or don't, they'd lean towards not re-signing him. That's my ultimate take. Dozer, do you think there could be a way to sneak into the first round in this year's draft via trades or pick swaps? Here's the problem. Who on the team is worth first-round picks? Drake London, Bijan. Who else? Who else are you willing to part with that'll get you a first-round pick? Kirk Cousins isn't going to get you that. Hell, even if you try to trade Penix for whatever reason, if it ever came to that, I don't think you'd get a first-round pick out of him either. So who are you going to trade? If you want to get in the first round, you're going to have to give up a player, a big-time player. I don't think the Atlanta Falcons want to do that. Now, could they get a bunch of, like, second- and third-round picks? Yeah, duh. If you traded Arnold Ebiketie, you'd get a second- or a third-round pick immediately. So I think now the question becomes, if you want a first-round pick, you got to part with one of your best players. Pat Norris, why didn't we run this offense last year? Dude, I have no idea. Zach Robinson's a moron. Can we just, agree with that? I don't know. I think finally Kirk Cousins grew a sack of balls and just said, hey, I'm tired of running this gimmicky pistol bullshit. Give me something real. And then Zach was probably like, okay. And they did, and look, they won. It looked actually like a competent offense. I hope we see more of it. I don't know why they didn't run it last year. Robbie, what do you think of the Falcons picking up Brandon Ayuk? Ooh, it's nicey. Except he's a locker room cancer. If you can deal with that, fine, go get him. He's a great talent. Could be an immediate number 2 behind Drake London. But do you really want him? I mean, he's probably going to have to deal with headaches as well. And plus, they just paid him all that money, and they're already divorced. So, I don't know. Probably not. I think he's a great player, but I don't know if I want him on this team. The Bright Wolf. If the Rams lock the number 1 seed, will they use their starters? They might use their starters for the pick. Yeah, they're going to play their starters. It's not Week 18. That's like the only thing that I could see it happening is if it was Week 18, but it's not. They're going to play as hard as they can for the number 1 overall seed, and they'll try to get those picks. And then if it's Week 18 and they're like, we've locked up everything, we'll just take a back seat. So I hope that answers your question. Pee poo poo. That's lovely. Nice thumbnail picture, by the way. Tacario Davis from Washington is 6'4". Tall cornerbacks are usually good because we play Mike Evans every single year. I haven't done my homework on him. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'll keep it a buck. I haven't really done my homework on Tacario Davis, but I'll look into it. I'll start watching some tape on him because if he's 6'4" and he's a corner, holy moly, man. That's unbelievable. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's mailbag episode of Falcons Today. Thank you guys so much for getting your questions in. As always, Falcons fans, rise up and be cool. All right, cool. Hey, we did get a $5 super chat, so make sure you put Ozzy's super chat up there, my friend. So put me up right facing. Yes, correct. Yep, there it is. Well, nope, no, that's Jeebus. What up, Jeebus? No, that's not the correct one. Sorry. Ozzy. It should be. You got to get something up here on screen real quick because there's nothing there. Ooh, there's nothing there. Check again, because like I said, it takes 10 seconds for it to come in. Void bets. I see it. It's a very handsome-looking man. Very handsome-looking man. Mm-mm. Oh, it's probably been an hour. That's why it has been. You have to get a new link, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll work on that a little bit later. Ozzy, I'll answer your question. I don't want another inexperienced experiment of a coach. Is it possible that Zach is a good enough OC by the end to be brought back? No. I do not want Zach Robinson within 10 miles of my football team. Get him out of the building. Robbie, fuck it. Let's sign Chad Powers as our backup quarterback or our new quarterback. Chad Powers, man, hey, he slings the rock. I haven't seen that show yet on Hulu, but I've heard it's pretty funny. Gravediggers, what are you referencing? Void, you went to Stag? Do I know you? Because that's where I went to school. Are we talking to me right now? Like, Bijan is not only a great running back, he's one of the best pass catching backs in the league. What? Are we talking to me or are you talking to somebody in the chat? Because I've never once wavered on my take on Bijan. He's one of the most talented players ever. I'm from Lewis University. Well, I should have known you weren't from Stag because you spelled the name wrong. So you're just reading off of a profile of me, I'm sure. Talking to you. All right, well, that should do it for us on today's live stream. Everybody clap it up for our guy, JD. Shout out to you, man. Do you want to step on the mic real quick and say hello to everybody? Yep, just make sure you don't talk, like, super close to it because it'll, like, destroy their eardrums. But,
mic check.
There you go.
There it is. Hello, Falcons Nation.
JD, you did really well today on the ones and twos today. Great job.
Appreciate it.
First live show, man, in the books. How does it feel?
It feels pretty good. Couple butterflies to start off.
Of course, it's always nerve-wracking. Dude, when I did my first one, by the way, I did my first live show ever with Petey, and I forked it up, dude. It was terrible.
Oh, man.
Awful. But you know what? I had a lot of fun doing it, and after I got done crying, I was able to, like, sit down and, like, actually do some self-scouting and realize that I probably need to do a little bit better.
Yep. We all live and learn as people.
We all live and learn as people. But you did a pretty good job, man. Just keep getting the reps, dude. This is a weekly live show. It's not, rocket science, but it is also something that, every single producer's got to do at some point. So you did a good job today. I appreciate it.
Hey, I've done it once. I can do it more than once now.
Absolutely. I'm turning you off now because bye-bye. Just playing. I'm just playing. He's a good kid. All right. That's going to do it for us on today's episode, my friends. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. Make sure that you are safe tonight if you're going out for Blackout Wednesday. If you're going out for Black Friday deals, do yourself a favor, get the very best deals. And you know what? I will see you on Sunday when we take on the New York Football Jets. As always, Falcons fans, rise up. Be cool.